Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to Brains and Baubles Live. I am your host, Davina Dandridge, and I am here to share the benefits of emotional intelligence and the way that I use it, called the Bling concept. I'm an author. I'm the host of this wonderful show, and I'm also an emotional empowerment coach. And listen, what this show is just to demonstrate how wonderful and how many people are using emotional intelligence. I just think that emotional intelligence isn't presented as something for everybody. And it is something for everyone. It's for women, which is who I talk to because I'm a woman and I can relate to some of the issues that can take our emotional health on a topsy-turvy ride sometimes. So because I can relate to that, I have answers to some of the problems that women face in their lives, not having enough time for themselves, to do self-care, to even do something for the family, like think about what the next move is going to be. Well, my mission is to show you how you can incorporate emotional intelligence by using my Bling concept. And so each guest that I bring on shows how emotional intelligence can be applied in many different areas in life. Something that you can gravitate to, understand, relate to, and use right now. So today, my guest is dynamic. My guest is a friend of mine, but she started out as my supervisor. And, I can't say enough about this person. So, what I'm going to do is bring on a person who is wise beyond her years, beautiful to boot, and she's the kindest, most generous, and giving person that I know. And I know a lot of them, but this one is good. And let me just bring her on. She is my accidental friend, but I am glad to know her and love her. Her name is Erin Walker. So come on in, Erin, and let's talk about it. Hey,
Well, hello there.
hi, hi, hi. I just knew you would wear something vibrant, so tried to match your energy. I seem like we came kind of close, didn't we?
We did. We absolutely did.
How are you, my beautiful friend?
I am doing awesome. How are you doing?
I have no complaints, none whatsoever. And you know what? I am so happy to have you on this show. I have thought about all day running through my head, how am I going to introduce Erin? I want to do it justice. And I didn't do what I intended to do because I don't want to sound regimented because our friendship, our connection is so natural and it just happened and we have so many things in common. But the thing that I do want to put out here to the people who don't know is that although we are only exactly 30 days apart in age, you're 30 days older than me, but I feel like you're a wise sister, like you're my big sister.
And the thing well, thank you for saying that. And I know we've had many conversations about wisdom, and
Mm-hmm.
there's so many slices to wisdom, right? And I think that you're my sister that is big picture. You've always been big picture. You are always the symbol of what's possible. And I think
Yeah.
everyone needs to have and be surrounded with people that show you a different way of doing things, showing you that there's so much more to life than what you're currently living. So I love that about
Good,
you.
and that's what really works as a friendship is like, people say, well, they're just like me. But what you need is
Mm-hmm.
someone that is not exactly like you, but you have enough things in common where you don't get bored and have to be fake about having a connection. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that we never did that. We have so many things in common, but I talk about your wisdom because I've seen you display it in many ways. Now, one of the ways is that how you know yourself. You have a self-awareness that does not allow you. I've never seen you be in a position where someone has taken advantage of you, in the sense that I know that there are things that have happened career wise that may have been unexpected, or changes happened, but you were always prepared.
Some of that, Davina, honestly does come with wisdom and learning and discernment. So those three things together.
Mm-hmm.
And that learning, nothing beats learning,
Yeah,
right? And I
yeah.
think that when you are caught off guard or you see something one way and it really isn't that way, you learn really quickly, like, I was off in my judgment. I was off in my perception of things. I didn't pay attention to all the cues that were presented to me.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a couple of choices from that point. You can pretend like it wasn't what it really is, or you can really use that as a learning opportunity.
That's right.
And yeah, and I think that that's really important to be aware of what you missed and why you missed it.
And I say that to say, the way that you became my supervisor, you were transferred from a whole other department.
Mm-hmm.
And that was unexpected for a lot of people when that transition happened. And for a lot of people, they could have had a bad attitude. I don't know the details, whether seniority changed, what blah, 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 what could have happened. But every time there was either a meeting where there was a light conversation or a tough conversation, or even when you were coaching me as my supervisor, I was always, I always felt like I was learning from someone who had experienced something and was willing to share. And I bring this up because when I talk about leadership, you're the person that comes to mind, because you told me one time. Now, this was when I was working at the company that we work for. I don't want to give anybody's name because you know how that goes. We were working at the company. I had only worked in my family business. I had never worked in a quote unquote traditional corporate entity. Okay. So I had a master's degree, all of that, but I was learning because every environment was different. But what you showed me in your leadership is that you gave me a compliment, and it was during the coach. You said, "You're going to be a good leader because you don't mind sharing the information." There are other people on this team that could be good leaders too, but they aren't willing to share. That always stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
That always, and I know that that didn't come from a book learning.
Mm-mm. Well, now that I have, it's funny the gifts that you're inherently given versus the things that you're taught.
Mm-hmm.
The things that you're taught, those are wonderful tools, but who you are is who you are. And
Uh-huh.
I always tell folks one of my favorite definitions of leader is the ability to influence regardless of title. The ability to influence regardless of title.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't take that as an Aaron thing. It's Stephen Covey. That's his one of his definitions of leadership or leader.
Yeah.
And that's what I saw in you. It just the raw talent. Just you wanted to share. You wanted to be helpful. You wanted to make sure that everyone had the tools and the resources to be successful. And that is something that most people, especially at that time, were really afraid of because that was the thing that made them shine. If I hold something to my heart, I
Right.
become the matter as expert. I become the shining star. Not
Absolutely.
realizing that if everyone has the knowledge, then we all get to shine as an organization, not
Mm-hmm.
just gatekeeping. But that is really about your ability to realize that emotional intelligence of I don't have to try and hold something near and dear to my heart. I can give this to you freely.
Absolutely. And you know what? And that's, now that you bring that up, is why I'm here today. Like this information that, even from your point of view, you could charge money to share. And the information that I'm sharing, I've been paid to share, but I want to really help people. And so, what better way to help people but on a platform where everyone has access to it? Um, and, like you said, when you want to share, I used in the book that I wrote, Brains and Baubles, Do What Works for You, the analogy of a closed fist. Like if you're holding everything in your fist and not giving anything away, nothing could get in either, right? So you're
Right.
not able to receive because you don't know what it's like to give. And when you receive from someone, you're allowing them to be a blessing to you. So it also has to do with how you're thinking and your emotional intelligence and self awareness. I led by saying how self aware you are, Erin. And I mean, really, we had a discussion the other day in preparation for this interview. And we talked about a tough issue, and I'm glad you're going to allow me to discuss it with you. I am a big proponent of relationships, specifically marriage. I think marriage is important. Marriage, if you are able to have a successful marriage, there is something about what it does and how you see the world. Also, I've been in a place where I know what it's like to look forward to something happening and then realizing that this shouldn't happen, or this isn't the time, or this isn't the right place. And you've experienced something like that that you shared with me. And a lot of women, I talk to women about dating and marriage all the time. And you didn't, while you had the opportunity to be in a place that you wanted to be with someone that you knew very well, you came to a decision that this wasn't for you at this time or with this person. Can you go ahead and elaborate and share your own story? And so I don't botch it up. Look,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to play dirty here. I really want you to express it the way you want to.
So I was engaged
Okay.
and I'd been in this engagement for maybe about a year. And during that time, I really started to think about what makes me happy, what adds to my happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And I really had to go deep and figure out it. When it comes to happiness, number one, we're responsible for creating our own happiness. That's
Absolutely.
that continued to just ring in my ear like it's not his responsibility, it's yours.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's start with just one simple question. Are you happy? And it was simply yes or no. Don't do the typical Erin thing, which is to rationalize everything, because that's what I had been doing. I've been
Yeah.
rationalizing everything and not being very honest with myself. And
Women
what
are guilty of that, Erin. You're not alone in that one. But yes, please go ahead. Hmm.
so that was a really tough question for me because I started thinking about how wonderful of a person he is, all of the things, and I said,
The
okay,
things can get you, can't they?
the things, yeah. And the things can sometimes be people because my family absolutely loved and adored him.
Yeah.
I still love and adore him. Again, he's a wonderful man.
Hmm.
Erin, I wasn't happy on the inside. So how could I go into a marriage not happy and fulfilled? So
Yes.
I had to do a lot of self-evaluation, a lot of past traumas that I hadn't dealt with. And
And
I was reflecting that back on him, looking for him for all of the answers when I hadn't even dealt with it myself. So
and that we are all guilty of, at some point, because we want companionship, because we want someone there to be in our corner, we always are in this position to think, am I wanting more than I should be wanting? Or is this person exactly what I need and I'm just being too critical? But self awareness, which is what I'm always talking about, is a tool that you could have in your emotional arsenal, but you have to sharpen that tool.
absolutely.
Because in order to go into a commitment of marriage, you had to be a whole one to meet with another one to become one.
Right.
And as women, we often try to fill in for someone else without seeking what we need to really figure out why we want to fill in that block. You know what I mean? Like I've said before, it's not for me to grow another person or show someone, especially at this point in our lives, what they should be doing or how they should be doing. I either accept it and I elect when to move on instead of waiting for something to come to a head or somebody to ghost you or find out something that you knew all along. But
all
I
alone.
love that you made the decision.
I love that I did that too. I did that
Mm-hmm.
for me and for myself. And
Mm-hmm.
that was a very difficult thing. I think that my family and friends had a really hard time, and I really didn't care.
Yeah,
To
well,
be
you
very
can't.
honest,
We do
I
care too
had to.
much about everyone else.
Yeah, that was one time I have to say I really thought about what added value to me and really
Right.
focused on me so that I could be a happy and whole person myself.
And how can you actually be the wife, the person that you want to be, if you feel like you're still missing part of the puzzle? And marriage is one of those things where, um, of course, we don't all know for certain and things are subject to change. But at this moment, right here, right now, this person is it for me. And if that person isn't it for you, then you have to do something about it for
Yeah.
yourself. It's
Yeah.
not his responsibility, right, to make you happy,
Oh,
even with the things.
nope, it was not his responsibility, but I was really grateful that I was able to do that because that really changed so much about my life, and I've been able to still challenge myself and challenge my way of thinking, not rationalize, be honest
Mm-hmm.
about how I'm feeling and execute. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you aren't happy, what are we going to do to be happy? What adds to our happiness, and go
What was
after
that
that.
conversation like? Okay, first, before you tell me what the conversation like, how did you prepare yourself? Because we all have an image or persona that we put out. And I mean, that's just the way of the world. We are not the same in front of all of the audiences that we inhabit.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain expectations about marriage and certain expectations for when a marriage or an engagement doesn't work out. How did you prepare and what did you prepare yourself for to have the conversation with him and then to tell your family and friends that, hey, this isn't going to happen?
Oh, well, number one, before I had the conversation with him, I was restless maybe 2 weeks before. I mean, I
Okay.
literally would wake up in the middle of the night and just could not sleep. And I prayed. I
Yeah.
prayed. I just asked the Lord, Lord, what is it? Why am I going through this? What's going on?
Yeah.
And he said, you already know. You already know. You need to have a conversation. And I was fearful, to be quite honest with you. I was fearful to let go of the things that I had in that relationship. I was very fearful, but at the same time, I knew it wasn't right. I knew that there was more. I
And
just knew
and time is no determination of whether something is going to work. Like I hear people say, I've invested so many years in this, we should get married. Or, we've been through a lot, we should get married. At the, oh, I was about to use a
that.
phrase that I
So let
don't
me
like
tell
to use, but
you, my thought to that was because we had been together for a while,
mm,
excuse me. And my thought to that was, yep, I learned a lot through this relationship. And honestly, that's what the relationship was about, me learning and growing. So that time
wow.
invested was about me learning and growing and
Mm-hmm.
understanding Erin better, understanding her boundaries, understanding what she needs to be a better woman, a better person. That's what that investment in time was. And also, I'm
Erin, that was awesome. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you just took self awareness and the idea of learning from lessons to another level because so many people would have looked internally and said, I was wrong, or I didn't do something right, or I didn't do something to make him want to behave in the way that I had anticipated. But instead of me looking at this as a loss of time or a loss of anything or pride, even, I look at it as a lesson that's going to help me in my next journey. That was awesome. Look, somebody need to be taking notes, writing it down, recording this, and sending it to somebody. Whatever you need to do, that was fire right there.
that's just real. I
Yeah,
don't know what it is, but it's real.
yeah.
And I'm just very thankful. I'm really thankful.
You know, I talk about having a gratefulness journal. And I have one available on my website if anybody wants to print out a gratefulness journal. And what the gratefulness journal does, it helps you have hope, is the way that I look at it. Because so many people go through challenges, either in relationships or in careers and finances, and they don't, or they lose hope for the opportunity for them to find love again or to get a better job or in a better situation. With a gratefulness journal, all I do is write down three things that I'm grateful for. They could be, getting a good parking spot today, when I was running late for something. It could be, that I got a great gift of a massage. Ooh, kind of deep tissue massage with a little gun for Mother's Day, and I used it yesterday. That is something to be thankful for. If you never had it, you better get one because it relieved a lot of stress. Anyway, but you use the gratefulness journal because sometimes you need to be reminded of the blessings that you have had, the things that you've endured, the situations that you've overcome, so that you can face new ones and learn lessons from them, and to know that there is a heavenly Father that will help you when you need him.
Yes.
And you, all you have to do is be thankful,
Yeah.
and you can be reminded of how good you are in a lot of situations.
So many things went through my mind as you were talking about being grateful. And the thing that just really just echoed in my ear was being grateful for self-love. Self-love. So
Yeah.
many for loving other people. And we need to
Yes.
start with ourselves first. And at this seasoned age in life, which I think is fantastic,
This is the good seasoning.
this is the good season.
This is low sodium, full of flavor. That's what.
Full of flavor, but I've never experienced this kind of self-love before. But
Mm-hmm.
in doing the work and figuring out what I need to fix, what I need to do,
Mm-hmm.
man, I have really learned to love every part of me, the good, the bad, the things I still need to work on and the things
Yeah.
I'm going to work on. I love every facet of me because this is who I was designed and created to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, early in the conversation, you mentioned finding out what makes you happy. And that's the first step to self love, because if you don't know what makes you happy, then you don't have anything to strive for that's going to bring you the joy that you're looking for. I believe that joy comes from many moments of happiness. And if we don't know the things that make us happy, then how are we going to pursue them? How can we connect with other people that share in the desire for the same type of happiness? Because that's how you come up with true friends where you weren't looking to have friends, right? Or true relationships, or even finding out if a friendship or relationship or a job opportunity doesn't work because you've sat down for 10 minutes and figured out what things you enjoy, and you've also taken the time to remember things that you could be thankful for.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I strive for every day to find moments of happiness, even if it's just drinking something like the tea that I want, getting the right ratio of lemon and honey together, or enjoying the weather. I'm here in Arizona. It's like summertime all the time, just about. And I have to pull myself away and make myself enjoy things that are here, or they could be easily missed because I am doing things, taking care of a family, building a business, caring for other people. I have to take the time, and you have to take the time, and everyone needs to take the time to work on themselves so that we can have the energy to know what we want and be able to share with other people. Erin, the other thing, before we still have some time. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and you were talking about self-care and self-love, is your health journey. And I think, listen, girl, you did it. I know we all still working on something, but you
Still
did
working.
that.
Still working. We are still working. That is a part of self-love too, to take
Yeah.
care of yourself. And that was I was sharing with you the story that my mother got sick. My mother was a caterer. My father is a retired chef. So
Hmm.
food was our love language.
Yes. Yum, yum, yum.
My mom got really sick, and one of the things that she struggled with was eating the right food and having a good balanced diet. And as
Hmm.
she just, I thought to myself, like, you can't allow this to be your story as well. You
Right.
really have this to be healthy so you can be around for your family.
Yes.
And it was a real challenge in the beginning because I didn't realize how much food was a part of my life. I mean, not regular food, but like bad food. Just I was like, oh
Can
boy,
you just give me an example? What do you consider bad?
I mean, just to be very honest and transparent, whatever I wanted to eat, I ate it. So whether that was pastas and breads and everything is okay in moderation, but there was
Right.
no in
So
there
the
was not
moderation meter was turned off. It was.
all the way off. There was no exercise. There was no
Hmm.
consistency in drinking my water and taking the correct supplements. And that was a commitment that I made to my mother. Like I will do better. I will take care of my body. I will
Yeah.
my body.
And we have to, we're living longer. People are living longer. I mean, of course, we have more access to information and, medications and just things that really work, options for staying healthy and losing weight and eating the right things. But overall, people are living longer and they are different in their age than we would have seen people our age 20
Mhm.
years ago seem so much older.
Yes.
And with that, people are also doing things and challenging themselves later in life to
Yes.
really find that happiness and create the life and environment that they want. So, this is awesome that you, number one, decided to challenge yourself and break your generational. Um, I don't like to say generational curses, but generational pathologies or systems that were in place. And my sister and I are doing the same thing by exercising and eating well and really being conscious about what we put into our bodies. And of course, we're not perfect every time. Something got to taste good
Oh,
sometimes.
first person to say had some little candies earlier today. I'm like, okay, Erin, put these candies back. This is enough. Help yourself, everything in moderation because good food and enjoying yourself is a part of life, but everything in moderation.
So, what do you do? Like, if you could name three of the major changes, do you mind sharing what the transformation was? The if you want to share the weight loss,
I've lost over pounds
how
and it's
many?
70. I've lost over 70 pounds. I still
Wow.
about 25 pounds to go, but I'm okay with the journey. I'm not,
Yeah.
it's been 3 years, so a little bit by a little bit. And
Okay.
I'm going to say three of the biggest things that have been different. Number one, exercise. For me, exercise. I
Okay.
exercise girl at all. And I ran my first 5K. I didn't run the full 3 miles, but a combination of running and jogging.
But you
And,
completed it. That's awesome.
and I was really excited about that. So exercise, I would say, it's the number one thing. The thing that I say about exercise is it's 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 really good for your mental state.
Yes.
I didn't really realize that, but it's
Yes.
a great tool for your mental state. 80% of weight loss is going to be from your nutrition, what you put in your mouth.
Hmm.
So the other 20%, the exercise piece, is for your mental clarity and for creating that definition and tone in the body.
Hmm.
So two things together. In addition to taking supplements, so making sure I get enough fiber, enough water.
Girl,
Water,
gotta have that fiber. If you don't have the fiber, stuff is messed up. Don't
yeah,
nothing come out right.
yeah literally, literally. So yes, my goal for protein and fiber daily. I try to do about 90 grams of protein and 8
Okay.
grams of fiber every day.
Okay. Yeah, I use a protein powder, and I incorporate fiber-rich foods into my diet. The thing that I love that you just talked about, that I always bring this up, is that exercise is for about more than just getting your appearance together. It works on your mental and emotional health, because your mental health, you are determined to do something, and it changes the way that you see things. So emotionally, you're able to complete things that maybe you wouldn't have completed before, or do things, even tasks at work or other tasks that might have, you might not have done. Like, I always talk about making cold calls. I couldn't stand making cold calls on the phone in sales. I'd much rather walk into someone's business, but at a point you have to make cold calls. But if you exercise when you don't feel like it, and you do things you don't feel like on a consistent basis, it makes other things that you don't want to do, that you have to do, easier to do on a more consistent way. And I say, you could apply that to everything. Once you start exercising regularly, you start seeing challenges differently, which will enable you to complete tasks, and do the things, and be the person in many arenas at work as a leader. And you are a great leader, and it's evident. Erin, when you told me the other day, and I'm going to have to pat your back for you from a distance, that you are divisional vice president at your company, I don't know why it surprised me, but it just was like, it just blew my mind. And I see you perfectly sitting in that seat, because you have such a desire, and you exemplify what is um, leadership, and you share it. One of the things that I always think about in your leadership is that you would allow your team to not only express themselves, but you would also embolden them and encourage them to use their best assets as part of the team, and encourage them to do that. And we weren't just numbers on your team, although we knew we wouldn't necessarily be on your team forever. I felt like we weren't just, this is my team for this quarter or whatever. I really felt like you were an empowering leader. I got it out. An empowering leader is what you are, and you deserve all of the promotion and things that you get, because I know any team that you're on is a good team, and they're benefiting from your wisdom.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Good, good, good. Well, listen, Erin, I want you to keep up the good work. Are you doing something right now that you want to share with the people, or do you have any emotional intelligence tip that you want to give, or for wisdom, something that the people can take with them?
Sure. In terms of emotional intelligence, just make sure that you are keeping yourself connected. That means learning everything you can about what is emotional intelligence, and then apply it, execute it. Don't just read, 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 read. Make sure that you are honest with yourself and using all the available tools that are out there. That's definitely
Yes,
connected, and to make sure that you're aware. Staying aware is so very important, and
it
being honest
is.
about where you are, because you can always move up here.
That's right. That's right. Start right here. Thank you so much, Erin. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, everybody, you want to know more about emotional intelligence. You want to start building your emotional arsenal. You can start with me right here. You could get my book, Brains and Baubles, Do What Works for You. You could go to my website, www.davinadandridge.com, and you can tune in every Tuesday to Brains and Baubles Live right here. And I'll share tips about emotional intelligence. You can learn the bling concept and become self aware, emotionally aware, and wise. All right. Until next time, I will see you later. Bye, Erin.
Take care.
Take care.